The auction housewarming event has come to a close, and as a result of that, combined with the recent sales, Payday 2 has had a surge of new players to the community. So I thought I'd share some of my favourite tips and tricks to better enjoy the game. Starting off solo. This was the first piece of advice I was given by a player when I first started playing Payday 2 a few years ago, and it's damn good advice for getting the gist of the game. Solo allows you to learn the basic survival mechanics, which ultimately make you more effective in a team. There's nothing wrong with jumping straight into co-op, but you might struggle putting those basics into practice. Playing solo means you won't be overwhelmed, only having to fend off an appropriate amount of cops for one player, rather than the amount of 4 players you would usually face in co-op. Following instructions. Ignoring this tip won't land you in jail or going down to randomite cloakers. In fact, that last part is pretty standard, but it might land you with a wound up host and a longer mission time than average. The Payday gang's dynamic transfers from fiction to reality well, with the host as a crew chief. He's calling the shots and will most likely decide the tactics and pre-planning and ask players to swap deployable if needs be. He does this for a reason. Simply put, he has a plan, or in better terms of the game, he's using a strategy. Most veterans have played these strategies, but for new players it can be quite confusing seeing everyone running around and not knowing what to do. Fact is, if the host is relaying instructions, you follow them. They won't be direct, like you're a robot, but he might ask you to deploy your equipment or activate an object like a computer. Things such as activating computers and servers do come up quite a lot in the game's later missions, but if you're stuck and the host isn't saying anything, it's best that you actually ask, because you're not going to get anywhere if you don't. Like I said, it's not that important, but it will help later on in the game when you're hosting, because there'll be nobody else there to actually help you. A little side note is that if you are struggling with any of these puzzles, you can go straight onto the Steam community forums, and there are a lot of guides and walkthroughs on how to beat the more complicated ones there. Be a team player. Like folks always say, there's no I in team. There's also no I in Payday gang, so make sure you pass around those first aid kits and share your ammo bags, because there isn't I in jail, and that's where you'll end up stuck if you don't help them. Be friendly. I love this game's community. It's genuinely a great bunch of players, but it's a very irritable game the higher difficulty you go. It's best to take everything with a pinch of sugar rather than getting salty, because in the end you're going to have much more fun when people are being nice back. Another side note is, if you check out the Steam discussions, you'll be able to find a crews and clans section on the Payday 2 forums, and these are where you'll find the nicest players looking to do specific heists and achievements, and you'll get the most fun out of this area. Study the skill trees. Something that new players often do is use one set of skills for everything. I used to do this, and there's nothing wrong with it, but there are better ways. Making a build specifically for stealth will make stealth easier, just as making a build specifically for loud will make loud easier. Making a loud build you can also stealth with will stretch out your skill points and limit your ability to do either effectively. Plus, with the new profile system, you can switch between your builds between days. Choosing the right difficulty. This seems easy, right? Well, you'd be mistaken. Every day new players get kicked for not understanding how hard the game gets or what to expect. Since there's 2 new difficulties, I'll give them a quick rundown. Normal, hard, and very hard. These are what you should play when you first start the game. They present enough of a challenge to be fun, while still allowing you to learn how the game actually works. Overkill and Mayhem, much harder than the previous difficulties, but after a few days playing they should be pretty standard. Moving up to these depends on how good a player you are, but usually around level 60 or 70 should do for Overkill, and at least past the first Infamous for Mayhem. Death Wish and 1 down. You need serious skill to play these. If you're not ready, you'll get your ass kicked, and if you haven't infamied a couple of times, you'll probably get kicked from the session. If you jump in here before you're ready, you'll get down and placed in jail a bunch. It's really not for new players. Variation. Variation is a great little trick. Something new players might not have noticed yet is the extra boost experience points on the level up screen. These points actually come from variation. The more you grind one heist, the less XP you get per completion. However, it works in the exact opposite way too. If you complete lots of different heists you haven't done in a while, you get more boost experience. It's a nifty little incentive to get you to try new heists and prolong the game's playtime. Don't cheat. Payday is all about the grind, and I gotta say, it's a bloody good grind. Cheating your way to max level with all the weapons is pointless. You lose a sense of progression that comes with leveling in Infamy. The game's best played trying everything as you get it, rather than getting everything and settling with one thing. Using mods. Mods are a huge part of Payday, and everyone knows and accepts this. There's rebalances, attachment mods, HUD mods, weapon mods, joke mods, host mods, all sorts of mods. I wouldn't recommend getting anything immediately so you can get a feel for the original game, but they certainly make the game better when you do get some. Keep in mind my game runs at about 45 to 60 frames per second without mods, so just by watching this video you can see that they do mess with the game stability a bit. How to deal with being kicked. Well, if I'm being honest, there's nothing you can really do about it. My best advice is play with friends, play with people you played with before and you know are good. Go to the Crews and Clans section on the Payday 2 discussions board. Other than that, all you can really do is ignore it and just carry on playing. What weapons should I use? Well, this one's really up to you. So long as the weapons you use you're good with and you're happy with, then it's not really a problem. What you really need to do is look into the skills and see what skills go with the weapons you like to use. Then you'll be more efficient in a team. Skills like Marksman, Shotgun Impact and Gun Nut are all very useful for the different types of guns, so it's important to take a look and see what will work for you. Buying DLC. This question is always all over the community discussions on the Steam Payday 2 hub. Should you buy the DLC? The quickest answer to this is yes. If you like the base game, it's worth it. However, if you're inclined to save some cash, just buy the ones that you want now and wait for a sale, or buy the Game of the Year edition and pick up the newer DLCs as they come out afterwards.
Perk decks.
Perk decks complement skills and can be a huge part of successful builds. If I were to explain each one in this video, it would be twice as long, but it's safe to say they're all very useful in various builds, whether they buff your health, armour, dodge or concealment stats. I might do a video on them in the future, but for now, it's best to browse the guides in the Payday 2 community hub to get a sense of what works best. Skins and safes. The safes in Payday come once a week in a card drop and work like any other case opening. The difference comes later when you go to the community marketplace. The safes have a higher value than most of the skins, so I tend to sell the safes off for 100% of the profit and then buy the skins I want. That way, I'm not risking getting something I don't want and I actually get a ton of good skins really cheap. Achievement hunting. The best way to get achievements comes in two ways. Browsing the Crews and Clans section for group-based achievements such as Winds of Change. The other way works well for weapon-based achievements. Loading up a smaller map solo such as 4 Stars or Ukrainian Job works well for getting high accuracy, kill amount, headshot or skill-based achievements, as you can go somewhere defensive and focus on the achievement rather than the heist. I hope you enjoyed the video. Whether it helped you or not, I hope it did. If you want to subscribe, you certainly can. However, the last time I uploaded a video was this time last year. But maybe that won't happen this time and I'll upload something in a couple of weeks, you never know. So keep an eye out for that.